Hello everyone, this is part 1 of the Beginner's Guide to Scratch tutorial series. This series is for complete beginners, people who have never used Scratch before. In this video, I will start on creating a very simple ball catching game, so let's get started. First off, when you create a new project in Scratch, you should get something like this. You have a cat on the screen over here, and that cat is your sprite. So what really is a sprite? Well, a sprite is just a fancy term for saying an object. So really, you just have a cat object. So right here, this is the window where your project is going to run. You can see your project in action here. As you can see below here, these are your sprites. And this big area over here is where you can put your blocks. And as you see in the middle here, there are a lot of sections. So as you see here, we have motion blocks, we have look blocks, we have sound blocks, and all the other stuff. So all these blocks here will affect your current sprite. So let's say if I want to make the sprite move right, we can drag a move 10 steps block onto the right over here. And right now it does nothing, but once you click on the block, then, as you see over here, the cat moves right by 10 steps. So I'll click on it again, and the cat moves 10 steps to the right. So let's say we don't want the cat. We want to create our own costume of the sprite. Well, to change the looks, we just go over here on the Costumes tab, and we click on it. Now we can see the image of our cat over here. And this cat actually has two costumes, and if you want to see the cat change to the other one, you can just click on this costume here. However, since we are making a ball catching game, we don't want these costumes anymore. We want to create a paddle for our game. So we can just click the X over here to delete the costume, and since each sprite must have at least one costume, we can't delete this one, but what we can do is go over here and hit clear. So this just clears the picture of the cat, and we can put our own picture on here. So as you can see on the right, there's a lot of tools in which you can draw your own image. So the first one right now is the select tool. So if you drag over this area over here, you can select something, but we don't have anything, so we can't select anything. But the next one is the reshape tool, but we don't have anything drawn, so we can't reshape it. But the third one here is the pencil tool. So if we hold the mouse down and drag our cursor, we can draw whatever we want. But yeah, so the next one we have is the line tool. Just draw lines. And then we have the rectangle tool, and circle tool, and then text. This is where you can just click anywhere and then type whatever you want. Oops. And click anywhere else other than a text to resize it and move it. So yeah, the next one we have is the paint tool. So we can color our text like blue if you want by going down here. This is where all the colors are, and select the color and then hover over it, and then we can paint on it. And the last one is a clone tool or duplicate tool. So we can have our object here and create a copy of it, like that. So yeah, these are all the tools for if you want to create your own image, but you can add preloaded images too. So next to the clear button over here, we have the add image. And if we click on it, then we have tons of images that we can choose from. So we have dinosaurs, we have drums or hearts. So I'm gonna choose an image here. Let's see. I'll choose an animal. Alright, I'll choose this monkey here. So I'll select this one, and then you can click OK. And as you see here, our monkey is added. So this is going to be good for now. Let's go back to our scripts over here, and now we can program it to move left and right. So how do we make it so that when we press the right arrow key, then it moves 10 steps? Well, there is a way to do it. We can go to events over here and drag a when space key pressed block. So events here pretty much start your program. So whenever you want your scripts to run, you have to add one of these first. Anyways, let's click this arrow here and change this to right arrow. So when the right arrow key is pressed, then we can drag this, move 10 steps, and then connect it under this event. So there we go. It's as simple as that. Now let's try it out. When we press the right arrow key, then it moves 10 steps to the right. Great. Now we want it to move left. So to do that, we can just grab the same block and then change this to left arrow key pressed. Then go to motion. These are all the blocks that move the sprite. And then drag a move 10 steps and click on it to change it to negative 10 steps. That way the sprite moves left. So now when we press the left arrow key, then it moves to the left 10 steps. And we can move right and left like that. However, something that is sort of annoying is that when you hold the arrow keys, then there's sort of a delay, like a split-second delay, and I'm not going to fix it in this video, but I will fix it in the future episodes, but not now because it's a bit more complicated, so we'll stick with this right now. Now the next thing I want is to make the monkey start on the bottom over here, not in the middle of the screen. So as you see here, we have a go to XY block. So if I drag this onto the scripts area over here, we can change the X and Y coordinates of this sprite. And if you guys don't know, the X position and Y position of 0, 0 is in the center of this project area right here. So 0, 0 would be right here. And if I change the X to 0, and then click on it, click on this block, then the monkey goes to the center of this screen. And for the X and Y coordinates, when we go down, the Y decreases, and when we go up, the Y increases. When we go left, the X decreases, and when we go right, the X increases. The entire width of this area here is 480 pixels, and the entire height of this area here is 360 pixels. And since the middle of the screen is 0, 0, the minimum Y position is negative 180, and the maximum Y position is positive 180. And for the minimum X position, that's negative 240, and the maximum X position is positive 240. So let's see where we want the monkey to start. Let's say Y position of negative 100. Let's see how it looks. So let's click on it. And alright, that's pretty good. So I think I'll leave it there. Now we have our monkey on the bottom of the screen. However, we don't have a start to our game. We want to somehow click like a start button or something to make the monkey always start at X position of 0 and Y position of negative 100. But luckily, there's a solution. We can go to Events, and then drag this when flag clicked. And we can just put it on top of the go to X and Y negative 100. Now, the flag is right here, so whenever we click it, then the monkey goes in the middle of the screen right over here. So the flag is essentially what starts our game. So when we add code, we want to add on to the when flag clicked. Oh yeah, and I haven't told you guys how the code runs, so I'll give you a demonstration. So the code over here, or like all scripts, go from top to bottom. So it starts at the when flag clicked, and then it goes downwards. So let's say we have another block. Let's say, let's drag a say hello for 2 seconds, alright? So when we click the flag, it's going to first position the monkey at 0, negative 100, and then it's going to say hello for 2 seconds. And when we clicked the flag that time, yeah, like it says hello immediately, and that is because it takes pretty much no time, like instantly, so it runs so fast that you don't see a delay. So it says hello immediately after that. So let's see it again. This time, let's make it over here. And then when we click the flag, it goes over here and it says hello. Now let's say, let's drag a think for 2 seconds. So now, when we click the flag, it's going to go over here, say hello, and then think, You can also click on the blocks here to make it do the same thing, but it's better to just click the green flag. And next up is the stop button. As you can see, there's a red stop sign here, and this is pretty self-explanatory. This just stops everything that's running in the project. So let's say, since the monkey is in the middle of saying hello, we just stop it, and then the code here stops. So it does not do the think for 2 seconds. Let's try it again. So it says hello, but when we stop it, this part does not run. So yeah, this is how we start our game. Now I'm going to take these 2 blocks out, and you can delete this by just dragging this and then moving it into the blocks area. Then we release it, and then it's deleted. So now let's change the background, because right now a white background is sort of boring. So let's just click the stage over here to go to our background object. So the stage is different than a sprite, because the stage here is only a background. So it can't move or anything, and it has less blocks that we can use. So as you can see here, there's no motion blocks, and we're missing a few looks blocks. Now to change the costume of it, we can just go to backdrops, and then we are brought to our drawing panel. Now you notice that our tools are on the left side, and that is because there are 2 drawing modes. As you can see here, we're on bitmap mode, but there's also a vector mode. So if you want to change modes, you can just click the button here, and as you see, our tools are on the right. But there is a big difference between the 2 modes. So as you can see, a vector mode is very, very smooth, and you can change the size and position of your objects. So yeah, we can just select our circle and then move it, increase the size and stuff like that. But now I will show you bitmap mode. So if we convert to bitmap, we have a few different tools, but most of them are the same. So we have our brush tool, and if I try drawing, you can see instantly that it's a bit more pixelated. It's not as smooth. Yeah. Next one is the line tool. Again, this looks pretty smooth right now, but if you zoom in, it's very pixelated. Next up is the rectangle tool. This pretty much works the same way. So yeah, you can, after you're done drawing it, you can move it and then increase the size and stuff like that. But however, after you stop selecting it, there's no way for you to select the object and then move it again. And for the circles, it's the same thing. You can resize it, but then after you deselect it, you can't move it anymore. Next up is the text, works the same. There's the fill, and this is different because you can just click anywhere and then it fills with that color. Let's say I choose a gray over here. So I click, let's say on the circle, and then it fills all the space within the circle. And obviously not perfectly, as you can see in here, but it does the job pretty well. This is different than vector mode because you actually need to create an object in order to fill it. So let's first clear this and then change to vector mode. And as you can see, we can't fill our background. I'm clicking right now, and I cannot change this to gray. That is because I don't have an object here. This is just our drawing panel. So once I create a rectangle, then I can fill it. But yeah, let's convert back to bitmap mode. And as you see here, we have an erase tool. So if we draw a rectangle, we can just erase it. And you can change the size on the bottom left. So I'm going to make it larger. So yeah. Next up is the select tool. Now this selects stuff exactly where you drag the tool. So let's say we have a circle here and a rectangle. Oops, okay. We have a circle and we have a rectangle. When we use this tool and then we drag, let's say here, we select this exact place. or like this exact area inside of the tool. And then once you release, it places it down. So this is different than vector mode because in vector, let's say we draw the same rectangle and a circle. Well, first off, there is no select tool, but if you use this one here, there is a select tool, but there's no rectangle select tool. But if you use this, and you draw a rectangle, oops, do you draw a rectangle? Oh man, okay. If you draw a rectangle, one sec. Okay, let me first delete this. So if you draw a rectangle, and then over this area, it doesn't do anything. So you can't select exact areas. But let's say we can select over here, and it snaps to this rectangle. However, we can't get like half of this rectangle. We can either get nothing or the entire rectangle. So yeah, let's go back to bitmap mode. And next up is the remove background tool. This I won't explain right now, but you can just select over it and then remove a background like that. Okay, next one up is the duplicate tool. So this works really similarly to the select tool. So let's say we have a circle here. We can just select this area, and then we have a copy of it. So yeah. Anyways, that's how bitmap and vector works. Again, bitmap is more pixelated stuff. Like you can zoom all the way in and then create pixels. And then for vector mode, it's more smooth, and everything is an own object. So when you create a circle, you have that circle object. You can move it again, and you can fill it and stuff like that. So yeah, let's stick with vector mode right now, and let's just paint this a color. Okay, actually, about my earlier comment that you can't paint the background. No, you actually can, so sorry about that. So let's paint this maybe a light blue. Yeah, like that. That's pretty good. So yep, this will be our background. Now let's go back to our scripts. And we don't need to do anything for our backdrop or our stage. So let's go back to our monkey sprite. And I want to make this a bit smaller. This is a bit too big. So as you can see, we are in the looks section of the blocks. And if you go all the way down, we can see a set size to 100%. Let's drag this over here under the go to XY. And let's change this to, let's say, 50%. Now, when we click the green flag, this automatically goes to half of its size, and there we go. Now, I'll move this a bit down, so I'll change the Y position to, let's say, -120. Let's see how that looks. Maybe a bit more down, so -130. Alright, I think that's better. And there we go. We have our monkey sprite that can move, and we have a simple stage. I hope you learned a lot about the basics of how to start a project, how the blocks run, how to change the costume of a sprite, and the interface of your Scratch project. In the next part of the series, I will continue our game by creating a new sprite that will interact with our monkey sprite, and explain more about the different blocks. Anyways, that's it for this video. See ya!